YouTubers, it's Go Kiwi here. I just wanted to do a video today. It's a pretty important video, and the subject is for beginner runners who are in an older age group, for oldie age groups, 40s, 50s, 60s and over. Because I started around about 2014, started doing a few 5Ks and half marathons. Actually 2011 when I first started doing Waitiru 5Ks, but I just wanted to say five tips that I wished I'd known earlier, that I kept to when I started out, because you know it's good to learn from other people's mistakes. And some people might say, oh, what right has he got on here, get on here, talk about videos and give tips? Well, I'm not bragging, but I'm just saying that in my 40s, 9 out of 10 events and races I did, I came in the first, second and third podium in my age group. And right through my 50s, 9 times out of 10 I became first, second and third in podium on my age group. And now that I'm over 60, 61, and the last races I've done, first, second and third podium in my age group, which is, I've had a bit of experience to know the mistakes I've made, and I just want to, it's a pretty important video. If you're over your 40s or 50s and up and you want to just learn how to get back into running, we haven't run for a while, we haven't run at all. But this video is really for people that have got a little bit past, like, you know, walking, you want to get straight rookie back into running. It's kind of like, well, even if you are going straight from walking to running, I would say walk 5Ks, and then over a matter of 3-4 weeks, do a little bit of a jog within that 5Ks until you can really come. It might take a month or two until you can jog the whole 5Ks, and that's it. That's basic. That's keeping it very basic. But the points I want to go with, the 5 points. One, the most important one that I've been, because I've been running for what must be about over 15 years, but you're still learning, all the time. And one main tip that I've learned recently this year, you know, is, I've heard people talk about, but it is important, is when you get into running, you find out that a lot of running plans and people's training is you only actually really do 2 hard sessions of running in the week, you know, where you do hard effort, you know, threshold effort, hard effort, and like a Monday or a Wednesday or a Tuesday or a Thursday, or you could have two days in between where you just take it easy, and like a Monday and a Thursday do that hard one, but 2 harder sessions, that's it. And the rest of your mileage is easy. But what I'm saying is, like, I've got up to doing my harder sessions are usually 15Ks in the trails, up and down hills. That's me, you know. But whatever you're doing is whatever fitness you're at, whether it's 5Ks, 10Ks, 20Ks. At the moment, I'm doing 15Ks on the Tuesday and another 15Ks on the Thursday, and that's why I do the harder effort. Everything else is easier. But what I'm saying is, when I was younger, when I first started doing half marathons, and you know, my 40s, late 40s, that was when I first started. I started actually running half marathons at 48, but it was 2014 did my first half marathon in Rotorua. And but in those days I used to train and run, and then the next day run just as hard. And you know, it's amazing to get more injured, because I didn't know you have to really have rest days. Your body sort of tells you got to have a rest day. But the thing is, what I've learned recently is you do that hard day, whether it's on a Tuesday, but the next day, you know, even if you've heard that the next day, well, only those 2 days you run hard, and the rest of it is all pretty easy, especially when you're a beginner running, getting into it, you know. You've heard, like I'm just saying, if you think on that easy day you're running easy, well, I would say run easier. I mean, if you can, you get used to running by effort, but you can, if you've got to watch, you know, that sports watch that's got GPS and paces and all that. You know, you hear of people saying the easy day is easier, but I would say run it even easier, because one big mistake people make is they run that hard day on the Tuesday, and then the next day they put it on Strava or whatever, and you say you're running easy, but even to make it, because people, you sort of like, your ego gets in the way. You get on Strava and you think, no, I've got to run under 5 minute pace. It's still easy run, but you know, you shouldn't worry about that. Even if you have to run at 6 minute pace, really slow or slow, it does not matter at all. It's actually better if you can run that slower pace on your easy days. And those 2 days, Tuesday and a Thursday, or Monday or a Wednesday, they're the hard days. The rest, whether it's 10Ks, 20Ks, 50Ks, the rest of your Ks should be easy, especially when you're a beginner runner. And what I mean is easy is, if you've got a watch, you should really, on those easy days, which is most of your running, should be your heart rate. Some of this Chorus watch is pretty good. Their heart rate is pretty accurate. You don't have to worry if it's not completely 100% accurate. But if you look at your details of your race after, or you're running, you run that day on the easy day, you look at it and you see that your heart rate's over 140 beats per minute. Well, that's too much, and over time your watch is pretty accurate. But if you can, they've got a, what's the name these days, I haven't bothered, but you can get a little band for your arm band, and that's supposed to be very, very accurate. And you've seen people having the chest band, the chest strap for getting your heart rate in that, but the band looks good to me. I'd probably go with the band, and that's supposed to be a lot more accurate. But if you're running over 140 heartbeats per minute on your easy days, that's way too much. I would say keep it down to, if you can, try to keep it to 130. Doesn't matter how slow you're going, try to keep your heart rate down to under 130. If you're running over about 130, it's really too much, because the whole idea of that day after the hard day is recovering. So you're totally recovering. You're just taking it very easy on that day after your hard day. And it's also building up an aerobic fitness. Like if you're building up for a half marathon, you need that good aerobic fitness, or marathon. So that's the number one tip. If I had to say that I would recommend people to learn right from the beginning, is to put into practices. Run your easy days easier than you think what easy is. Very easy. And number 2 tip, I've got 5 here, but the number 2 tip, that's the main tip. Number 1, run your easy days easy. You'll get on with number 2 tip is if you haven't got a race coming up, whether it's 10K, half marathon, you've got that usual week taper. Some people have 2-week taper, where they just taper, meaning like say you've got your mileage per week up to about 80 Ks or 100 Ks. We'll cut the mileage back to less Ks and less, don't do the big usual hard sprint sessions on the week before you're having that race. So that's a good tip. But at the same time, you don't want to get go so easy you're getting feel real sluggish and awful on race day. So at least a couple of shorter, hill sprints or something, or a couple of 5K, put a bit of effort in, but not too much on that week before taper race is one big tip I wish I learned easier. And as you're getting older, definitely as you're getting older age group is, because this is the second tip, is after the run, after that race, that if it's a hard race, you run at your best half marathon at 10K, I don't know so much about 5K, even 5K, marathon, after that, the next week after your race, I would advise just do some cross training, bit of biking and a bit of swimming, but walking, definitely 100% walking is probably better than biking and swimming or anything. When you've done that hard race, walking is probably the best out of the lot I've found. Just a 3-4K walk on the day after, and a couple of days that week after you've done that hard half marathon, 10K marathon. But and one thing I say, maybe not when you're younger, 30s and early 40s, but 50s, 60s, 50s, late 40s, 50s, is even on the second week after your race, get back to running, of course, because that's all good, but even that second week, just go steady in your runs, because you're still recovering. It takes a lot out of you if you're in a hard half marathon. get back to running the second week, but just don't do the same hard session full out on those two harder sessions, Tuesdays and the Thursday, but just keep it steady, easy for the whole next, on the second week. But third week, pretty much back to normal, but you'd be surprised how much it does take out of you. So that's the second tip. And getting on to the third tip is kind of getting more onto fueling for runs, and also just diet, really, a little bit on diet. And that is, one is the gel. It's always handy for any race, pretty much a couple of minutes, 2 minutes before, 5 minutes before you've done your warm-up, take a gel. It's always handy, you get that little bit of boost with that. And getting used to the routine of having some kind of a recovery drink after your run, because it's all if you can recover better, and having some kind of nutrients and nutritious drink or smoothie after is definitely good routine to get into. One I do is like coconut water with bananas and spirulina and linseed and nuts and raisins. I mean, that's a good one. It's a really good recovery drink. And another thing is, within this point number 3, this is all about nutrition, is don't forget to keep drinking, some good water, good water to drink the night before you do the day before, or even a couple of days before, that week before you've got a race coming. Just don't forget to just keep sipping on water, through the days, couple of days and the day. And after you've done that race, don't forget to keep on sipping on the water the next day or the next 2 days. Just, you got to keep drinking the water, but definitely a bit more after you've had races. It just helps with that. And so that's pretty much the nutrition, and keeping the diet basically not just fish and chips kind of every day, but and the night before any hard race, half marathon, 5K, is have some kind of carbohydrates, whether it's rice or pasta. You've heard people saying that many times on videos and things, but it definitely does pay. The night before, some kind of like vegetables or wholemeal bread, proper thing. So that's that tip. So what are we up to? Recovery, drink, race. Yep. So we're getting on to 4, and number 5 is, this is a common one, but it could easily be a mistake by older runners who are trying to get back into running. One is when because I can't go into lots of details about running in that, because you've got to build up your how much mileage you do over time. And you might start off with 10 k's a week and build it up to 20 to 80 to 100 k's a week. But wherever you're at, whatever k's you're doing a week, on that 4th week, say you're doing 20 k's a week, you went a couple of runs, you had your k's up over the week. Say you're doing 20 k's a week. Well, on that 4th week, cut it back to 10 k's. If you're doing 50 k's a week, on that 4th week, this is a very important one too. I only learned kind of a couple of years into running, is that 4th week, cut it back to whatever half, and don't make that week big intensity running. Just cut it back to steady runs, and like if you're doing 100 k's a week, cut it back to 50 on that 4th week. That's probably one of the biggest tips, helpful tips, because it gives your body a chance not to just wear itself out and soak up what the training that you have had. And so that's pretty much the tip. I'm getting, supposed to be 5 tips, I'm going into 6 tips. Another one is that I need to apply more to myself is, a lot of runners talk about it, is doing a couple of gym sessions a week. I'm trying to do that now after years of running, because I hate doing any kind of weights and stuff, but I think it does help to do a bit of weights, not much, it's a bit of weights, sessions of weights, 3 sessions of 10 reps type of thing. That's another whole story, weights and that, but that is a help. But to also do your bit of weights, I've heard, is on the actual hard efforts, on the hard effort days. So, say you have your run in the morning, you do your hard efforts, your bit of weights on the hard effort days, but I found it's good to do a little bit of gym, a little bit of weights kind of leave it to, say, before tea that night, so you've given your body a bit of rest, and then do your bit of weights. But if I had to say, the last tip would be every run and every race event, just have fun and enjoy it. Because if you get to your race and you can't, it's good to be nervous and a bit tense. That's awesome. That gets you on the starting line, gets you off. But don't get over serious about times. I think to enjoy every race, every run, and getting on carried away. But then also because the last tip is get to really enjoy. Me personally, anyway. I probably don't do enough running on the flats and getting speed, but get to enjoy hill running. I started out running on the trails, and I'm still running on the trails, and I kind of miss the hills if I'm not running on the hills. So learn to do some sessions on the hills, and just learn to run all weathers on the hills. Okay, better get going, YouTubers, and I hope that's some help to anybody. Comment below if you've got any races coming up, what tips you can add to that. So good one. Thanks, YouTubers. Kiwi over and out. See you in the next one.